Folks, welcome to this week's Current Events and Bible Study. We got a special treat for you next hour. Thank you. We're glad you tuned in because of it. We're going to have Pat Shannon on. Pat Shannon was on our broadcast a few months ago discussing a book he wrote, and everything we've been told is a lie. And I have to tell you this before we get started in current events. I just turned 70 a week or so ago, and that's no longer a young man. I look back over my history and my personal history in life and the things that I was taught over all these years in public school, in churches, everywhere else, and we begin to realize that a lot of them are false. I'm a little bit easier to convince now that I could have been fooled. Now, anybody in here besides me ever found out that somebody made a fool out of you? That taught you lies? And when you study history, when you revise so many times, you have no idea what history really is anymore. Matter of fact, we were up in New York, went up to baptizing a family in New York a couple weeks ago. And the older guy him and his wife run a bed and breakfast, beautiful place. 84 years old. He taught history. He said, I had to quit. I was tired of lying to the students.
Wow.
Yeah. Folks, so please, as you hear the facts, don't take my word for it. Research for yourself. Find the truth. Dig for the truth. It's a precious gem. And once you realize how many times we have been deceived, you may start questioning things you've been taught all your life that have brought us in the condition we are now. And believe me, we're not, as a nation, in God's will at all. So that's all I can say about that. But anyway, I just heard Melody Seastrom. Y'all know Melody Seastrom, Discount Gold and Silver. Did you know that she was a stand-up comic at one time? Did some comedy? Yeah. I mean, she could do it if you picture in your mind. She could do it good. She said she was up one day. She said, "Did you ever notice how everybody in Mayberry, Andy Griffith was so happy all the time? You ever notice everybody was Andy and Barney and Aunt Bee and all of them are so happy?" She said, "Do y'all know why?
Why?
Because they're all single."
Oh.
Now, she went on. She said there's one main character that was married. And he was in jail a lot. Remember Otis? He was a town drunk. So anyway.
Yeah. Never saw his wife.
Yeah,
She was on there when he won that award, that Founders Award, and some other time.
So anyway, I thought it was pretty good. Everybody was single was happy, but the one that was a drunk, that was the only one married. But anyway, we'll move on. That's a joke, ladies. Only a joke, believe me. That could be. I mean, sitting beside me is my wife, almost 47 years, and I'm quite content most of the time. But anyway,
I was married before I was born.
I hear you. In Psalms, read a few verses in Psalms chapter 113. To get into some current events. And this is a beautiful psalm. Also, if you read Psalms, David wrote Psalms, I guess, from just a mere mortal's perspective. You know, David died at age 70. He wasn't old. Died a young man, really, if you think about it. But he went through a lot in his life. You know what I mean? Up and down, committed murder and adultery and paid for his own family. So he would, one psalm he'd be crying to the Lord to deliver him from something, and the next psalm he's praising him because he went through this same emotional battle we all do. Anybody have up and down days besides me? Mm-hmm. Really? You ever have melancholy days where you just don't care? Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway,
my days go left and right.
Left and right?
Yes.
Okay. Psalms 113. Praise ye the Lord. Praise, all ye servants of the Lord. Praise the name of the Lord. Blessed be the name of the Lord from this time forth and forevermore. From the rising of the sun until the going down of the same, the Lord's name is to be praised. Now, sometimes we forget that. Because sometimes we don't feel like praising too much. But he's to be praised because he's still God. And he has not lost control. No. The Lord is high above all nations, and his glory above the heavens. We need not fear what man can do to us. I tell you this, and I know we're mere mortals, and no one looks forward to dying. I mean, no one just wouldn't. If you did, you're going to kill yourself, probably. But no one necessarily wants to go through that steps of dying. But I'm going to tell you what, death for a Christian is the most beautiful thing in my mind to escape this world.
Amen.
But anyway, let's get started on some current events. This is some good news. James Dobson praises the demise of California's anti-Bible bill. Saying America needs a best mental health decision, James Dotson, the noted Christian psychologist and founder of the Dr. James Dotson Family Institute, is praising the demise of California's must stay gay bill. In the state that already bans counseling against same-sex attractions for children, it would have made consumer fraud anything that would have been opposed to pro-homosexual, pro-transgender social movements. It would have made it a crime to offer a seminar counseling against homosexuality if the consumer needed to buy a ticket. It would have made illegal the sales of books, possibly even the Bible, if they counsel against a homosexual lifestyle. The reason is obvious. If homosexuality is a choice, then gays lose their ability to insist they were born that way and to demand accommodations from throughout society. WND reported Friday when the sponsor of the plan withdrew its consideration. AB 2943 was just one vote short of the governor's desk. Now think about that. That close to outlawing the Bible.
Wow.
And it virtually unanimous support from Democrats who are in the majority of the state assembly and state. Family organizations and Christian leaders from across California have been reaching out to the legislature, especially the sponsor, Assemblyman Evan Lowe, asking that it be stopped and dropped, and he did drop it. That's a victory by one vote.
Next time it won't be.
Think about that, folks.
So wake
Next
up
time it
call.
won't be.
Yes, really. The Week magazine. A booming chicken diaper. I'm not making this up. A booming chicken diaper industry has sprung up to serve the growing number of urban and suburban hipsters who keep the fowls as pets or egg products, but don't want to deal with the birds' poop, and they poop every time the heart beats. Pampered Poultry, which sells cloth diapers, now brings in $60,000 a year for New Hampshire farmer Julie Baker. To put a diaper on a chicken, Baker says you flip it on its back and cradle it in your arms like a baby. It freezes. That's why you can put the diaper on.
Pressed, you just lay there and not move.
I mean, come on, diaper. Well, they have diapers for cows now too, you know.
Then you roll over the top of
So-
the
Is that so you can have it in your
And
house
dogs.
or something?
I guess, or keep them poop in the yard. I don't know. So anyway, wit and wisdom. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we use when we create them. Think about that a minute.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, you are only free when you realize you belong no place. You belong every place. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Very well put. Another The Week magazine. And I'm not going to read all this to you, but Terengganu, Malaysia, homosexuality there is against the law. And if they're caught, they can be caned or whipped for doing it. And it goes on from there, but they said that people are, the world is angry with them because they don't allow lesbianism and homosexuality in
what?
Malaysia.
Right.
Yeah, really. I mean, these people are not considered, they're Muslims mostly, but they have more morality than we do.
Absolutely.
A work of conceptual art at a Harrisburg, Pennsylvania museum that featured a children's swing set was destroyed when a mother and a child tried to play on it. Artist Sean Matthews spent more than 60 hours welding this piece so that the chains of the swings were suspended in midair. But 10 minutes into the exhibition's grand opening, the mom and the daughter pulled the swings down so they could use them, breaking the chains and wrecking the installation. I looked away for a moment and then boom, it's down, said museum director Ann Schwab. We were just devastated. You never know. You never know. Some more wit and wisdom. Character is like, now I like this, character is like a tree and reputation like its shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing. That's good. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. Guess who said that, by the way? John Kennedy. And again, another 3D print that we talked about years ago with the little Bering race. They are now printing concrete barracks for the military.
Oh,
Actually printing them. Layer by layer. They can make a, see, it takes I think like 2 days to make a whole complex. It's amazing. Now here's what's going to be the next hot invention, Phil Hudock. Everybody walks around, you see people walk around talking all the time with that Bluetooth thing in their ear, the microphone. They now have, the military made this, has a tooth mic. Tooth mic. This clips in your mouth, you speak on a microphone, you listen through the bone structure in your jaw.
So it's a white tooth instead of Bluetooth.
There you go. But the next time you pass someone on the street who appears to be talking to themselves, they may literally have voices inside their head. Now they spend $10 million to get this out there, but the microphone, of course, the speaker, but the reception is done through your jaw bones. It goes up to your ear canal, and you hear it just like you would if you normally would talk with anybody. So they're going to have a tooth mic. Why talk about convenient?
Well, I wonder how well that'd work if you wore dentures.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, years ago, there were people that actually heard radio stations. It was from their teeth because of the chemistry of the mouth.
yeah.
It actually produces electric current, and the tooth was acting like what they call a crystal radio. Crystal radios, you didn't have any power to them; they were just powered by the station, because the station puts out a lot of power. And if you have something sensitive enough, so people were actually, unfortunately, you couldn't turn it off.
Wasn't that because of the amalgahide and the fillings that they had, the mercury fillings?
Fillings in your teeth, yeah.
You know, you have to stop. Maybe it's to stop and think too. I mean, this is increasing every day, and nothing's going to end on this. But we're bombarded all day long with microwaves and radio waves and electricity all around, all the time. That's got to throw your body off somewhat because that's not natural.
Right.
Y'all remember, of course, you know Kavanaugh is right now going to be voted on what any day now, I guess, to be a Supreme Court member. You remember the protest they showed at the news when he first started? The protest up. These people were paid for that. They were paid. You find it real quick. Say. Approximately 70 people are arrested already. 61 were removed from the Senate Judiciary Committee room and charged with disorderly conduct, and 9 removed from the second floor of the Dirksen Senate office building and charged with crowding, obstruction, or accommodating. What is that supposed to mean? But anyway, they had on their cell phones, they would tell them, it's your turn to speak. And they get up and protest. I'm serious. They got paid. I'm trying to find the amount. They were paid so much, like $50 like that, then they bought their lunch and paid their fine to get them out of jail. True story.
They've been doing that.
Wasn't that treason?
They've been doing that.
And who's the they?
They
paid them.
It tells you that here too. Let's see.
Oh, that's
Probably the Democrat
What's
Party.
his name's Powell.
Probably Soros.
Yeah,
Trying to find it.
Soros and
$50 to disrupt the hearing. The officer received breakfast. Organization of the hackers. It did. Must be further down in the article, but they said that the Democratic Party behind it.
yeah,
But
well,
I remember
this
but
has
there's-
been going on since
Oh, it's been happening for a long time,
Trump's been elected.
but they're starting to get caught now.
Yeah.
You know.
Because now they're saying that Kavanaugh's had some sex offenses in the past. That was on the news the other
Oh
day.
yeah, I know.
She wants the FBI to investigate.
Yeah.
Sex offense is wrong. There is no excuse for it. But if it happened 30, 40 years ago, why are you bringing it up now?
It's something. What if it didn't happen 34 years ago? And the same
What?
thing like with Judge Moore, they brought things up that wasn't even applicable or didn't even
Yep,
happen.
that's
They're
but
doing
see
it
today,
again.
if they bring it up, you're guilty.
It's, about
Right.
60 people came forward, women, vouching for his
Character, yeah.
and they've known him for, I think it said over 10, 20, 30, 35 years, since youth. Many of these women, and they're all different political
Spectrums, yeah.
And anything could be a sex offense.
Oh yeah.
Smart.
Somebody.
Well, unless I know somebody, I don't touch them hardly because I don't know what's going to be going on. I don't. We're talking about how many of y'all know we live in a place where you got to have some finances. You got to eat, right?
Yeah.
Illinois breaks pension debt record for U.S. states. You know, they promised retirement, right? All states have done that. And all states are in debt up to their eyeballs and over in debt because of it. Anyway, credit ratings agency Moody's Investors Service released report August 27th comparing unfunded pension liabilities across all U.S. states. According to the report, Illinois unfunded pension liabilities grew 25% in fiscal year 2017, $250 billion. That equates to 601% of own source revenue. 601% more than anybody makes. Meaning money brought in by the states, excluding federal funds, that ratio of pension debt to revenue is the highest on record for any U.S. state, according to Moody's. The national median across this state in debt for pensions is 107%. How long can you carry that before the whole thing collapses?
We learned yesterday that Kelly knows this one lady lives in Section 8 housing, that they raised her rent $118 because Section 8 is broke. So they're raising their rents to kind of pick up where they're going broke at.
It's a Ponzi scheme. Retirement funds will go broke. And they are. Now this I thought was interesting. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine this, but it's what it is. The average car payment today is $525 a month. Imagine that. Americans now hold $1.149 trillion of outstanding loan debt. Almost $1 trillion. I mean, Phil, can you imagine that? $1 trillion is a lot of money. The economy is running on credit. Things are booming because everybody's going in debt. Eventually, that's got to come to an end. And in California, good old California, illegal immigrant students who get free tuition, all colleges paid for, are now allowed on California college boards to make the rules.
Make what?
Make the rules.
It's called inmates are in charge of the asylum.
Well, think about that. Let's go back to California again. California candidate for governor promises free health care for all illegal immigrants. The latest push for financial suicide and collapse. He was the mayor of San Francisco. He said, we led San Francisco right into a better place, and they didn't go bankrupt, but the average debt that the average taxpayer in San Francisco owes on the debt in San Francisco is $16,400 per taxpayer.
Per year.
Per year. Yes. So that's what they owe. That's what's behind them. But this guy running for governor, Gavin Newsom, said we can give all illegal immigrants full health care.
He used a hate crime.
So that would be a step up for us if we could get ourselves to be illegal immigrants and get there.
Habla español?
We
Our
keep
eyes brown and darken our skin.
Yeah, that's my problem. My eyes are blue. How did it change that? But anyway, but this is what we're seeing. This is unbelievable. But this is going on right now in California. The state's already broke. So I don't know. Maybe it's just weird. I don't know. But it is what it is. And it's not just here. It's happening nationwide. Everyone's crying because of illegals. They're separated from the children. When you go to jail, do you take your kids with you?
Work the law. Suffer
Now, come on, people. Think about this. I love children. But if I break the law in Mexico, are you going to bring my children down with me, or grandchildren, so I can see them? And pay me for my health care and all that? Well, I don't know. Don't get me started on that. That's a whole different ballgame. I'll never buy another pair of Levi jeans. Levi's come out strongly in support of gun control. You believe that? The CEO of Levi Strauss & Company, corporate owner Levi Jeans, Virtue signaled in an open letter linked down, asking the gun owners not to bring firearms to Levi stores, office, or facility, even in states where it's permitted by law. He says, they said now on September 4th, 2018, op-ed in Fortune CEO Charles Chip Burr declared himself a believer in all the false flag shootings from Sandy Hook to Parkland, and the company of Levi Strauss is supported for gun violence prevention. So Levi will not get any more business out of me.
Here's what you do, Butch. You target and leave Levi.
There you go.
Buy a ring.
Now this is really, listen to this. This is a state of affairs in the good old US of A. We're all here in this room, we're senior citizens today. Oh, that hurts. But we are. We grew up in the 50s and 60s. You remember going to school when you tell girls from boys and they had separate bathrooms?
I remember when girls used to wear dresses and boys wore slacks.
Yeah.
I mean, that was not uncommon.
Talk about sexist, huh? But anyway, and we use different bathrooms, no questions. And Monterville Grade School didn't have a telephone to school. They didn't have a telephone. Imagine that. We took guns to school. But anyway, military hardware company swamped with orders for bulletproof school bags as U.S. schools term starts.
You're kidding.
Masada Armor is out of Israel. Has so many orders they can't fill them fast enough for the schools in America that want to buy bulletproof school bags. That is so sad.
It's because there are computers in the book bag.
Probably so.
So is that going along? Wouldn't it hurt the sales of shooter's insurance?
Well, I would think.
I think it was last week at Tigers Valley, middle school, one taught 5th, 6th grade, they had a pat down there.
We have something video clip today and stuff.
Pat down.
Well, you'll see.
Okay.
Millennium boy got patted down.
Male infertility has fallen 60% since 1973.
You mean fertility?
Fertility, thank you. Male fertility has dropped 60% since 1973. Now that's not normal. It has to be what we're ingesting somehow.
That's planned.
It is
Yeah,
planned.
it's
It has to be.
probably Fox Radio with
It
the
has to be.
manipulations.
Could this be part of population control?
Could it be something in the vaccines?
Of course. And in L.A., I can't read it all to you, but L.A. is doing something brand new. They're putting detectors in the railroad yards when you go to get on a train. That detects guns and explosives and anything else that you may have tried to hide. It says this: at Union Station on Tuesday, a sign posted next to the body scanner said, reads, passengers proceeding past this point are subject to Metro security screening and inspection. One thing we have to be sensitive to is the 4th Amendment on reasonable search and seizures, Wiggins said. We will make it very, very clear that individuals are entering an area where they're subject to search. Riders who want to opt out can opt out, Wiggins said, but could be banned from entering the station.
Yeah, you go to the post office, they ask you anything explosive, flammable, a whole bunch of that stuff. I said, yes, it is, like a 3 sticks of dynamite and a pound of nitro and 2 tons of fertilizer in that box. She said, I can accept that.
And for the first time, Dulles Airport surprises passengers with facial recognition boarding. You get on the plane in Dulles Airport, they can scan your face and know who you are.
In the right hand and in the forehead?
Not just your face right now.
No, I'm just saying,
Oh.
Revelation 13,
Oh, yeah,
16,
exactly.
in the right hand
Yep.
and the forehead.
Now, where did this start? Remember years ago, where did it start? With your state driver's license with a digital picture that went from the state to the nation, and nation is going worldwide.
They won't leave the state.
China's digital totalitarian experiment. Now, you all probably know about this, but China started a while back what they call a social credit system. If you don't follow the rules, you lose credits. You lose credits, you can't do anything. China's social credit system, which will assign every person a constantly updated score based on observed behaviors, is designed to control conduct by giving the ruling Communist Party the ability to administer punishment and hand out rewards. Doesn't this like a parent with a child? The former deputy director of the State Council Development's Research Center said the system should be administered so that discredited people become bankrupt. Officials prevented Lin Hu, a journalist, from taking a flight because he had a low score. According to Communist Party-controlled Global Times, at the end of April 2018, authorities had blocked individuals from taking 11.14 million flights and 4.25 million high-speed rail trips. Chinese officials are using the list for determining more than access to planes and trains. I can't buy property. My child can't go to a private school, Liu said. You feel you're being controlled by the list all the time. Chinese leaders have long been obsessed with what Zhang Zemin in 1985 called informationalization, automation, and intelligentization. Now they are only getting started. Given the capabilities they are amassing, the argument goes, make defiance virtually impossible. The question is the question now is whether the increasingly defiant Chinese people will accept Yin's encompassing vision. Right now, they have 626 million surveillance cameras all through the country of China.
Wow.
But that wouldn't happen here, would it? Surely not.
No, we're immune.
We
We're
wouldn't
exempt.
tolerate that. Los Angeles, you will get chipped. It's just a matter of time. In the aftermath of Wisconsin firm embedding microchips in employees last week to these company badges and corporate logins, the internet has entered into full-throated debate. Religious activists are so appalled they've been pinning their nasty one-star reviews of the company. 3 Market Square on Google, Glassdoor, and social media. On the flip side, seemingly everyone else wants to know, is this what real life is going to be like soon at work? Will I be chipped? It will happen to everybody, says Nolan Chesley, 49, associate professor of sociology at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. But not this year, and not in 2018, maybe not my generation, but certainly that of my kids. So she says, all these people are saying you will be chipped. But people, it's convenient. You don't need to carry a phone. You don't need to carry it. You can do anything just by your hand, scan it. You know, now they have a thing on your telephone where you can pay a bill just by touching the, scan it. And the stores now, there's just the truth. There are stores, Amazon, I think one of them. You go in the shop, when you walk out, you don't even stop. You don't even pause. It deducts off the phone, you walk through. How convenient.
Isn't it, Butch, that they're trying to force us more and more into this?
Of course, they are. This is along the line right here. America moved closer to being a cashless society. If you want to buy a beer at Flat Stick Pub in Seattle, don't whip out a $10 bill to pay. You'll walk away thirsty. Flat Stick, a hot new mini chain. It's a mini chain now. It's not just one restaurant. The Pacific Northwest doesn't take cash. Neither does Bluestone Lane, a coffee chain with locations in New York, Philly, and D.C. Patrons there have to pay with plastic or an app called Level Up. Want to grab a sweet green salad for lunch with cash? No can do at many locations. Cashless commerce is popping up around the country, particularly in restaurants catering to a younger crowd, which is likely to leave home without any greenbacks or even a wallet, instead of choose to live a life with a smartphone and a few credit or debit cards attached. Businesses who go on cashless rave about the results. Plastic owner Sam Largent told me plastic only reduces error rates during times of complex accounting, such as calculating tips when shift changes. Cash sure seems to be on the ropes. The dollar value of the cash transactions sank 7% from 2010 to 2015. While credit and debit card payments rose 50%. Meanwhile, ATMs, which had their 50th birthday last year, are disappearing around the block and around the world, signaling the decline of the cash run. It's coming, folks. It's here. Now, in case you're interested, pay attention. Now, pay attention. Don't be caught drinking a glass of white milk. It's now racist.
I guess that's the brown.
Well, then we could be chocolate.
In the era of social justice warriors, when racism doesn't exist, it's manufactured out of thin air. A sociology professor has now invented a tool of white superiority. It's something most of us, regardless of our race, have sitting in a refrigerator right now. Milk is racist, according to George Washington University Law School writing professor Islam Cambert. Ignoring the fact that all human women have the ability to produce milk to feed their babies, Cambert decided to go looking for the racism. She also sees milk as a tool of the patriarchy, which is incredibly surprising. But despite its wholesome reputation, milk has long had a sinister side, being bound up with the exploitation of the human and non-human bodies it comes from, and being a symbol of and tool for white dominance and superiority.
Oh my God.
According to who?
According to this professor.
It all boils down to cow fall. Brown cows should get brown milk.
That's right.
No.
Facebook.
Too much.
I don't do Facebook. I won't do Facebook. Facebook is a waste of time. Facebook is run by the government to control people, know what's going on. Don't do Facebook, but you go do it anyway. No, you are. While you're on Facebook, why don't you put it down and read the Bible?
We need to get called decision.
I'm not on Facebook.
I know.
I know,
We
yeah.
need to get that off.
Yeah, maybe probably come to that pretty soon. It's probably
Who
kick
would
me
we
off
talk
already. Facebook had to issue an apology for calling a Declaration of Independence hate speech.
Well, good.
I mean, they called it hate speech. And go on with that. We'll find it here. That's on further down the line. You'll get a little further than I here. Johnson, Vermont. Education professor Hannah Miller is starting a study very personal to her. My goal for the research is to make K through 12 school a more inclusive and supportive space for queer, transgender, trans-identified teachers. Miller tells NBC5 News she feels supported being out as a lesbian at Northern Vermont University. But even though Vermont has a discrimination law protecting LGBTQ workers, more should be done to make sure all educators feel welcomed and accepted. Folks, they don't want to just have equal footing. They want to be everything.
They want complete control.
I mean, I'm not going to read it all to you, but I think that the primary reason that I was interested in this was that because I was really very, very severely bullied when I was in school, really to a point of severe depression, thinking about suicide. This is where we are. And Yale University, founded by Puritan clergymen in the 1600s to educate preachers, now has more LGBTQ students that identify that than they do any other class of people. Protestants, Catholics, all combined. That the homosexuals now outnumber
The straight students.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, pretty good.
Twitter says if you use the term illegal alien, it's hateful content, you're not allowed to post it.
You know what?
You can't post it. And Facebook also says a prayer for children is equated with hate speech on Facebook. A gentleman named Aaron Gertrude posted, God lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. Put that on Facebook talking about children, and they flagged it. It's hate speech. Do you see that Christianity's coming more under attack? Do you understand that one day either going to go to jail or face fines, or you're going to shut up? What are you going to choose?
I'm not gonna do none of it.
Me neither. Northeast Wisconsin Technical College stopped a student from handing out Valentine's reading, Jesus loves you, you are special, and you have a purpose. The student is now suing NWTC and wants the school to change its policy restricting free speech to less than 1% of the total campus area. Less than 1% of the campus is considered free speech zone. A Wisconsin student sued her school on Tuesday after discrimination labeled her a disruptive student for handing out Valentine's Day cards reading Jesus loves you.
She's suing this college.
Yeah.
Good. I mean,
This
we
is
get to that, but
it's sad. It's beyond sad. This is what a Christian is going to face. And if the church doesn't speak up, which you're not going to, it's not going to change.
Now people can't just rise up against free. I mean, think about it.
Because
Speech.
Oh yeah,
Who the hell
free speech zone. Yeah.
is anybody tell me where I can or can't say what I want to say?
Back in 40 years ago, when I was preaching back then, I told people that one day, because we can murder babies, one day we'll be killing old people. Remember I said it many times.
Mm-hmm.
Kill elderly to harvest organs, says New England Journal of Medicine. Two professors are calling for euthanasia of the elderly to harvest the body parts for an organ donation in the New England Journal of Medicine. The current issue of NEJM, September 6th, features an article by Ian Ball, Robert Sebald, and Robert Trong. They argue that it is ethical to change the guidelines to enable organ donations by euthanasia. The author of the article suggested that legalizing euthanasia creates new pathways for organ donation. So, yeah, they're euthanasia eaters. Why keep them alive? Let's kill them and take their body parts. Hey, we do it to unborn babies every day, don't we? Have you not been caught selling baby parts? Yeah, selling body parts. So why not? I mean, this makes sense, Phil. We're going broke taking care of them. Let's just kill them, Kelly, and we'll make a profit off of them. No investment. Go ahead, Phil.
Well, I would bet that the New England Journal of Medicine is a corporation, and they get corporation money. American Heart Association.
Oh, yes.
American Dental Association. Those are all corporations.
CDC, all of them,
We
CDC.
even have patents. The American Dental Association has the patent on mercury fillings.
Mm-hmm.
And if every dentist that belongs to the ADA has signed an agreement not to ever say anything against mercury fillings, or he will lose his license.
Well,
From
they
that corporation. You're licensed by a corporation. The Bar Association is
yeah,
a
yeah,
corporation.
it is corporation.
They're all corporations. They're money.
I wonder if the dentists have a business interest in fluoride, because they sure do push fluoride.
What's that?
I wonder if they have a business interest in fluoride. They push fluoride big time. The dentists all do.
I would doubt that they have a patent on it.
But anyway, they come up with a solution for old folks who are just useless eaters. It's just put them to sleep. I mean, by the way, they can harvest your organs when you're dead. They take them while you're still living.
And who wants an 80-year-old's organ?
I don't.
Come on now.
Probably experiments,
What a,
scientists experiments. I mean, I'm sure.
that's an excuse.
But New England Journal of Medicine. I mean, New England Journal of Medicine used to be a respected magazine. Now, take all the information and type this in this article right here. We're down about the last 3 minutes before I gotta go here. Now, folks, please listen to this. More children are dying by suicide. 50. How do you want to say this? Suicide of elementary school age children remains rare, but it's up. I forget how many percentage. From 2008 to 2016, the rate of suicide 11 years and younger has doubled. 11 years and younger has doubled. But when you send them to a school where they're taught there is no God, there is really no hope beyond this world, they can be any sex they want to be, the parents, a lot of them don't care, they're just there, they have children, they send them off to go to school, get rid of them, and I'm telling the truth, you know I am, and they don't teach me anything at home about God and right and wrong. They have no hope, they're in despair. So what's suicide? Just a way out. Am I telling the truth? People are looking for a way out of the pain they're in. Instead of turning to God, they don't know who He is anymore. They kill themselves 11 years and younger. It's okay though, because we're going to kill the old ones anyway. Do you see a correlation here? This makes me angry, Dick.
Also, if you think about full-term abortion,
Oh yeah.
so it's right there with it.
These children see no hope at the age of 11. What in the name of God does the world have to do to make the church angry enough to get up and say something?
I know a little boy about, I'm guessing 14 years old, he tried to hang himself the other day.
Well, Lisa went to a funeral. Lisa Shaw went to a funeral. 6-year-old boy hanging himself in the park the other day.
I knew this boy.
This is what we're seeing. Without Christ, there is no hope. And the scripture tells us that the people that hate God love death. The enemy comes but to steal, kill, and destroy. And we're seeing it happen, but the church is still looking. Hey, they can't figure out why this is happening. It's easy. God's not with them anymore. We took God out of the picture, and now we have suicide, 11-year-old and younger doubling, and murdering old people for their body parts. Come on, people, think about that. When God is out of it, there's nothing left to build on. Before we start preaching, we're going to watch some videos.
But first tonight, an exclusive investigation from this show. For 2 years, the alleged threat that Russia poses to our elections has been official Washington's obsession. The usual business of government has come to a halt as Democrats and their allies in the press fret that Russian agents may be interfering with our democracy. The root of these fears, a handful of Russian ads on Facebook that almost nobody saw, and a small number of efforts to hack Democratic Party email accounts. Now, let's assume that all these deeply worried people are sincere, that they really care about the integrity of our democracy. Then why has almost nobody said anything about the tech monopolies that now dominate the exchange of information in this country? If a few dozen Facebook ads are enough to subvert an election, shouldn't we be worried about Facebook itself, which controls literally billions of ads? A couple of times on this show, social scientist Robert Epstein has pointed out that Google alone could determine the outcome of almost any American election just by altering its search suggestions. We'd never know what happened. Oh, say tech defenders, don't worry. These are businesses. They exist to make money, not to push political agendas. Well, it turns out that's not true, and we can prove it. An email obtained exclusively by this show reveals that a senior Google employee deployed the company's resources to increase voter turnout in ways she believed would help the Clinton campaign win in the last election. The email we obtained came from a woman named Eliana Murillo, the former head of Google's multicultural marketing department. She sent the email on November 9th, 2016. That was one day after the presidential election. That email was subsequently forwarded by 2 Google vice presidents to more staff members throughout the company. In her email, Murillo touts Google's multifaceted efforts to boost Hispanic turnout in the election. She notes that Latinos voted in record-breaking numbers, especially in states like Florida, Nevada, and Arizona, the last of which she describes as, quote, a key state for us. She brags that the company used its power to ensure that millions of people saw certain hashtags and social media impressions with the goal of influencing their behavior during the election. Elsewhere in the email, Murillo says Google, quote, supported partners like Voto Latino to pay for rides to the polls in key states. She describes this assistance as, quote, a silent donation. Murillo then says that Google helped Voto Latino create ad campaigns to promote those rides. Now, officially, Voto Latino is a nonpartisan entity, but that is a sham. Voto Latino is vocally partisan. Recently, the group declared that Hispanics, all Hispanics, are in President Trump's, quote, crosshairs. They said they plan to respond to this by registering another million additional Hispanic voters in the next presidential cycle. Voto Latino is a group with clear political goals, goals that Google supported in 2016. We asked both Google and Voto Latino for clarification. What exactly did Murillo mean by a silent donation? This is a potentially significant legal question. Neither company responded to us. At the end of her email, Murillo makes it clear that Google was working to get Hillary Clinton elected. This wasn't a get out the vote effort, whatever they say. It was not aimed at all potential voters. It wasn't even aimed at a balanced cross-section of subgroups. Google didn't try to get out the vote among, say, Christian Arabs in Michigan or Persian Jews in Los Angeles. They sometimes vote Republican. It was aimed only at one group, a group that Google cynically assumed would vote exclusively for the Democratic Party. Furthermore, this mobilization effort targeted not the entire country, but swing states vital to the Hillary campaign. This was not an exercise in civics. This was political consulting. It was, in effect, an in-kind contribution to the Hillary Clinton for President campaign. In the end, Google was disappointed. As Murillo herself conceded, quote, ultimately, after all was said and done, the Latino community did come out to vote and completely surprised us. We never anticipated that 29% of Latinos would vote for Trump. No one did. If you see a Latino Googler in the office, please give them a smile. They are probably hurting right now. You can rest assured that the Latinos of these blue states need your thoughts and prayers for them and their families. I had planned a vacation and thought I would be taking the time to celebrate. Now it will be time to reflect on how to continue to support my community through these difficult times, end quote. Nobody at the DNC was more upset by the results than Murillo. Google tried to get Hillary elected. They failed this time. We reached out to Google. The company did not deny that the email was real or that it showed a clear political preference. Their only defense was that the activities it described were either nonpartisan or weren't taken officially by the company. But of course they were both. Plenty of people in Google knew what was going on, and we've seen no evidence that anyone at Google disapproved of it or tried to rein it in. 2 years later, Google is more powerful than it's ever been, and the left has increasingly become radical in what it is willing to do to regain political power. What could Google be doing this election cycle to support its preferred candidates? What could they do in 2020? It is a question almost nobody in Washington seems interested in even asking. They ought to be interested.
Good evening. An emergency preparedness drill in the South Hills is going a step further than usual.
As some parents are worried not only about the psychological effects, but also how neighbors might react. Ralph Iannotti is live in Bethel Park with more tonight. Ralph.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. It's a sign of the times. A growing number of school districts around the country are conducting these active shooter drills. And for some people here in Bethel Park, the shooter drill tomorrow here, well, it's a little too close for comfort and too much true to life. Active shooter drills, like this one recently at Springdale High School, have become the new norm in many school districts. Tomorrow's drill here in Bethel Park High School is likely to be more realistic than many others. It'll include simulation of gunfire. Not everyone is happy with it.
I'm not opposed to the drills. I see the need for this sort of thing for emergency preparedness. What I call into the question is the need for simulated gunfire.
Adams has a son who just this year enrolled in the high school. She and some other parents contacted us saying they were concerned about the drill. More specifically, the fact that blanks were being used.
Students have been prepared, although I have not been advised about what that preparation consists of. My concern is for students who may have some sort of issue with anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, special needs students.
The high school principal sent emails out to parents saying in part that the drill will include an alleged shooter in the building. The police will be firing blanks to expose everyone to the sound of gunfire. The email stated that the blanks will not be fired at anyone, however the sound may be heard throughout the school. Adams told me she thinks school officials should have provided more information about the drill. Not only is she worried about the psychological effects the drill could have on some students, but also about how neighbors might react to the sound of what they believe to be real gunfire.
There are homes located nearby, and I have no idea if anyone who does not have a student in the district has been informed that this drill is going to be taking place. There's a lot of unknown variables of what could potentially happen if a homeowner nearby heard those shots being fired off.
Now, according to the school district here, tomorrow's drill will be conducted during an extended third-class period. We're live tonight in Bethel Park. I'm Ralph Iannotti, KDKA TV News.
Take a look. This is going to get your attention, right? This is one of the massive posters up around the construction areas at the airport acknowledging that, yes, Den's got some secrets. The signs on construction walls highlight some of the biggest conspiracy theories Denver International Airport is known for.
We have an Illuminati base under this airport.
There's the cornerstone that has the Masonic symbol on it.
Here's the mysterious stone that he is talking about. And what's interesting is that nobody really knows who paid for the Denver airport and its construction. However, we do know the fact that this dedication stone has a Freemason symbol in the middle, as you can see, and there are some very odd things written here. The first one is a quote here that says, "The time capsule beneath this stone contains messages and memorabilia to the people of Colorado in 2094. Underneath the Masonic symbol, it says New World Airport Commission. And what's strange about this is when you look up the New World Airport Commission, you can't find any information about it.
Our cameras were previously allowed down into the underground tunnel system. Some people believe the tunnels lead to secret meeting spots for the world elite. Others believe the airport is connected to the New World Order and the Freemasons, that Lucifer is cursed.
When you arrive at the Denver airport, you're greeted by this demonic statue. Its fierce looks and glowing red eyes have earned its nicknames such as Lucifer, Satan's steed, and Blue Stallion of Death. Now, what's strange about this is Luis Jimenez, the artist who created it, died when a piece of the sculpture fell on his leg and severed an artery.
Every time you go to the airport, you can't miss this guy, the blue horse with the beet red eyes staring at you as you drive up to the main terminal. Well, now he's getting a friend. Check this out. It's Anubis, also known in Egypt as the god of death. And now it's hanging out at the airport. What were they thinking putting the god of death at the airport?
They were thinking about Satan.
Well, Ron, the statue is here paving the way for the King Tut exhibit that's going to be coming at the end of the month. The statue was erected right here on the south side of the terminal earlier today, and a lot of people are really excited about it. But some find it a little bit odd that the Egyptian god of the dead would be looking in on an airport where some people are afraid to be anyway. It's not the pyramids, it's DIA.
That's an interesting image to have here at the airport.
A statue of Anubis, the ancient Egyptian god of the dead, is going up here ahead of the King Tut exhibit.
I wanted a picture of that.
Art enthusiasts are really excited.
He's here to pave the way for King Tutankhamun's treasures to come to the Denver Art Museum.
But some travelers aren't sure if they feel more or less secure at security with Anubis looking in.
If it's the god of death, I wouldn't exactly be putting it out in front of the airport.
For some,
I don't like flying to begin with.
it's just not very reassuring.
It's kind of weird, especially being at an airport, you know, bad voodoo.
DIA already has the sculpture of the big blue Mustang with the glowing red eyes.
It scared me. I was kind of scared.
The statue fell on its creator and killed him, and some affectionately call him Blucifer.
What do we call it? A demon?
Now this latest edition of artwork could challenge the horse's notoriety.
Definitely an odd choice.
Also inside the airport is this demonic statue with its head popping out of a suitcase, as you can see in this image here. So you have to ask yourself, why would they put this in the airport? And who would want the last image of a statue to be a demon right before they fly? I find this very strange and very odd. Also, there used to be these very disturbing murals that they would have hanging in the airport. Now, this first mural shown here is a very scary figure standing in an officer's uniform carrying a sword in one hand and an AK-47 with a gas mask on his face. Maybe it's implying that the instrument of death in this case is biological weapon. And here's another image set against a backdrop of what looks like a massive solar flare causing massive destruction and extinction, with various species dying, from whales and animals to people. There's also a forest in the background burning down, alluding to the end of the world. So these are very distressful images, again, that you're seeing throughout the airport. So again and again, you have the statue of Anubis. You have the demonic statue of Lucifer when you first enter the airport. You have this Masonic tablet, and then this demonic statue that's coming out of a suitcase. You have these very disturbing images as you're going throughout this airport, and you start to wonder what is happening with the Denver airport. What is really going on? And why do they have so many demonic symbolisms there?
This is America's Got Talent. Now watch carefully. This is literally showing the serpent right here handing Eve the apple, and then it shows all of humanity being overtaken by the demons. The demons are represented right here in the background. Here's Adam, here's Eve, over here's the serpent. Now watch. This is America's Got Talent, a family show. Now everybody's enthralled by the way this girl can bend and all the different things that they're doing, but look at the story that they're telling. She takes the apple, she gives it to him, and then the pit bursts open. These are demons. And notice that they're bringing children into the middle. Notice the demons. It's not hidden. It's not hidden. It's right there for all to see. Just most don't see it. But notice the children are being thrown into the middle of the demonic circle, and the demons are just eating them up. And these people, there's probably a great chance that they are demonically possessed because they can do this kind of stuff. This is amazing on a physical level, but on a spiritual level, they're just giving you information. Watch this. They throw the children into the center, and then these things just jump on them like a pack of hyenas or a throng of demons. It's unbelievable. Family television. When I grew up, we had Leave It to Beaver and the Brady Bunch. You know what I mean? And now this is what passes as entertainment. Watch the child thrown in the middle, and then there you go. Hordes of demons. Just, yeah. Good stuff right there. They're showing you what their intent is and what it always has been. And it appears to be working. Like, share, subscribe, or don't. I'm out.
I looked in the mirror, and what did I see but a little old lady peering back at me, with bags and sags and wrinkles and wispy white hair. And I asked my reflection, how did you get there? You once were straight and vigorous, and now you're stooped and weak, when I tried so hard to keep you from becoming an antique. My reflection's eyes twinkled, and she solemnly replied, you're looking at the gift wrap, and not the jewel inside, a living gem and precious, of unimagined worth, unique and true, the real you, the only you on earth. The years that spoil your gift wrap with other things more cruel should purify and strengthen and polish up that jewel. So focus your attention on the inside, not the out, on being kinder, wiser, more content, and more devout. Then, when your gift wrap's stripped away, your jewel will be set free to radiate God's glory throughout eternity.
March with hearts courageous after you. We're marching on with hearts courageous. We'll follow anywhere you want us to. And should you lead us where the battle rages, let us march with hearts courageous after you. Give us ears to hear that still small voice, and give us lips forever willing to rejoice. May our eyes be lit with wisdom, may we know the path that's true, and we'll march with hearts courageous after you. We're marching on with hearts courageous. We'll follow anywhere you want us to. And should you lead us where the battle rages, let us march with hearts courageous after you. We're marching on with hearts courageous. We'll follow anywhere you want us to. And should you lead us where the battle rages, let us march with hearts courageous after you. Lord, hearts great.